This is the aftermath of, we were trying to flip stumps the other day on these two trees and back there. And this is the aftermath. Justin was here with his huge chainsaw and he chopped up these giant logs for me and they're laying everywhere. So I have never split firewood. I mean, when I was a little kid, my granddad, he had a tractor with a hydraulic splitter and we split firewood when I was a little kid, but I've never taken a maul and split a log, period, ever in my entire life. Especially logs that are this big. I mean, some of those things are pretty, that's a big oak tree. So that's today. For the first time in my life, I'm gonna give this a whirl. So I have a couple of things to help with that. One, for the smaller pieces, I just got a splitting axe, a Fisker, pretty light, and it should make easy work on the smaller logs. But those giant logs, those I got a little more heavy duty. I have it's an 8-pound, it's a Fisker as well, but it's got a mallet on one side and it's got the splitter on the other side. So this is heavy. This is gonna be a workout to swing around. And then to use with that, I got a couple of different mauls. So I got this one that hopefully will do the job. And then I got two more just regular ones that when that one gets buried and stuck, hopefully I can take two more and keep hitting them with the mallet. And if I get 3 stuck, I guess I'll hit it with the other side of the axe. And then if I get that axe stuck, I have the other axe. If that happens, I go home and I quit. So these are all tools that I anticipate will be with me for the rest of my life. My goal today, it is a modest goal, but probably still overreaching my ability. So my goal today is to get through one of these rounds. So I'll film this in real time and see how long it takes to get through this one, which is about, I mean, it's 2 feet wide and it's been laying here a week. I have no clue how this is going to go. The number one thing I'm worried about is being safe because I do not want to chop into my leg. I don't want to miss and it not do something that I want it to do. Time to get to work. This is going to be hot and exhausting, I would imagine, but it should be a good workout. I did the gym yesterday, so I did my weight training. Saturdays and Sundays are supposed to be my off days. So this is going to be, I'm going to treat this like light cardio work. Instead of riding my assault bike today for my cardio, my low intensity cardio, I'm going to do this. If my heart rate gets up, I'm just going to sit here and rest. I expect it will. I also expect I'm going to be really sore tomorrow. Woo, that is hard. Did you see how that bounced right off there? So I think the big ones, I think I'll start with this maul and start with these. I think I'll start with the sledgehammer and start with the maul and try to get just anything split off of this big log. And we'll see how this goes. So that was about 10 minutes to get just through and in through one cut. The main log is split up. What I saw I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about how, I watched hours of people splitting wood, which is not exciting, by the way. But it's the way you learn, I guess, if you don't know how to do anything. And I don't. What they would do is they would get it split if they could not get it split apart, and I can't because I still need to get through the bottom of this log. From the ground, it's up to about my knee. So you can kind of see there, I've got it split, but the very other side of me, I could flip it over and come from the other side probably and be fine. But a lot of the guys they would take everything out and then they would try to go in from another, like a smaller chunk, like right here, or somewhere where there's a crack. Like there's a crack here. That's not really helping me. See, there's a big crack right there. So I'm going to try to do on that crack and get this chunk to split off. And then I can use my smaller axe to chop this guy up, maybe. These may be so big though that they just don't chop up like that. I don't know, still learning here. As expected though, this is a good workout. So far I see 10 logs like this. So let's take an hour each. That's gonna be 6 hours just to split these up. And some of these have knots in them because they've got where branches, those are gonna be nightmares. So I may rent a wood splitter or I may just do it the old fashioned way. And I may wait until winter to do all this because this would be a lot more fun if it was not 80 degrees. It's the middle of April, so it's not even gotten hot yet. And I'm kind of in the shade here, but it's 80 degrees today. Tomorrow's supposed to be in the 60s. So it just depends on what day you're out here. What I may do is I'm gonna stick with my goal. I'm gonna get this log chopped up. All right, I've been going about an hour. If anyone who lives in the country is watching this, and they see what I just did in an hour, they will know that I will starve to death and die of cold exposure before I ever get a fire started. I'm not going to make my goal today. Even a little 8-pound mallet like that is still pretty heavy if you're not used to swinging it, and I'm definitely not, because I'm used to sitting at a desk all day. So I actually had to flip the log over. I could not get it to split from the top from one side. So after trying, that's probably what took me so long, just live and learn, is I just flipped the whole log over and then came at it from the top side. And it was still hard to get split, but at least I was able to do it. If I'd have split it in the middle and then flipped it over, that would have been the right move. Just split it in the middle, flip it over, split it through, get it separated, and then start going at it. Definitely easier to get through the second time because you can kind of come at a smaller chunk of it and get that just to splinter off rather than having to go through the whole log. So, I mean, I feel like I'll gain in speed as the log gets smaller, that's for sure. But I've been going an hour. Man, my heart rate was really up. So, I mean, I had to take a few breaks. I'm sweating like crazy. So to me, that's what I accomplished today. And I'm totally not really happy with that, but I did learn a few lessons. I'm gonna run with that for now because that's an hour. That's more than a regular cardio workout. So that's cardio day. I'm gonna stop and then I'll come back and work here another hour. So I mean, while I'm here, I've got my chainsaw. I've already got it down here and try to limb a little on this. I want to go back with a full bucket of wood. There's no sense in driving the tractor down here and driving it back with it empty. I won't have to use my brain as much, trying to figure something out that I've never done before. And I definitely won't have to use my body as much, definitely swinging a big heavy thing over my head. I have a suspicion that I'm going to be aching tomorrow in places that I normally don't ache. Being a smaller dude doesn't help when you're trying to swing axes. You want to be a big, strong, burly man. And that's never really been my forte. And probably never will be. So I got my chainsaw out and I just sawed up all these logs back here. Chainsawing is much easier than slinging an axe. So now I'm gonna load all those logs up into my bucket, try to take a full load of firewood back to the barn. All right, so today's project is take the rest of that firewood and I'm gonna split it in the building. I took it from where I was the other day and I just took, some of this needs to be split and some of it doesn't need to be split. And I've already got a stack over here that is smaller and does not need to be split. And I'm gonna store my firewood in my metal building. I could have bugs, I guess, but it's a metal building. I mean, how bad can the bugs be on a metal building? So I'm gonna store it inside, and I got this firewood rack. So it's like an 8-foot firewood rack, and I'm gonna put it together today, and then I'm gonna put my firewood on it, and hopefully I'm gonna fill up lots of these 8-foot firewood racks because I have a lot of firewood. So this is wood I got from down there the other day, and so it's a week later, and I learned a lot on that first day. One, I learned it's really hard. Also learned it's good exercise, but I was doing these big logs and just getting it split in half was a nightmare. But as I did it, I learned, so first I wasn't terribly sore, as bad as it could have been. What really hurt was my hands. Like my hands were sore, I guess from holding, the axe. So I had the two axes. One was this 8-pound wedge, maul, whatever, and then one is lighter. So like I'm gonna work on today trying to do these, but what I noticed as I was doing it was, one, I would miss a lot, so I'd glance off to the side. What I noticed as it went on, as I was doing the big logs, I noticed that the more I focused on using the weight of this heavy maul down, and I would find myself just really making sure that I was going to hit it and hit it square and use the weight, not use my body. So it takes some practice. I told Emily, I said, it was horrible. It was great exercise, but I'm going to keep doing it and I'll get better as time goes on. So I'm going to practice for 30 minutes or so today, till I get my heart rate up, work up a little sweat. It's pretty cool outside today. I moved everything up here just so I can be on concrete, and it's a little easier. And today I'm gonna try to do some of these smaller, like allegedly this little thing should split these things pretty easily. So I'm just gonna hit a few of these and see if I can figure this out. Yeah, that's way better. So I feel like I'll get good. I'll get a lot better at this. So like this is like a 7 or 8 inch piece of wood that needs to be split just to go in the fire. So, I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. But that's a whole different ballgame than splitting, you know, one of these giant pieces. But even that, you know, it takes practice, because see, I keep glancing it off, and it's got knots in it, which makes it a little harder. But that's the way it's supposed to do. And then I'll split this one. And I hit my concrete. That's not good. So maybe I'll move. I don't really want to be chipping my concrete out. Oh, I know what I could do. I could actually set them on top of this. That's what I'll do. Alright, so I'll just keep practicing. I'll get better at it as time goes on. I have my whole life ahead of me. I plan to fill that rack up pretty quick and then just keep buying more. I want to have a lot of firewood built up. All right, what a mess. I chipped my concrete a couple times. I'm not going to keep chopping in here on the concrete unless I get something to lay on it, which I might do. And I got everything pretty easy except this one log, and it's got knots all in it. That thing, I beat on it forever and it would not come apart. So I'm not sure what you do in that situation. I'll know from now on that if I ever hit a big knot like that, just to punt. Because the rest of that wasn't bad. I mean, you can see, I mean, some of this was bad because I hit knots. That one had a knot, there was a huge knot. Everywhere where there's knots, that's where your tough sledding winds up. I'm gonna put all this on this rack now. This is the little stuff. I'm gonna make a little pile of tiny little stuff that I can use for fire starter. And then I'll put the split stuff at one side, and then I'll put the stuff like this at the other end. And then the goal is just to burn it. Have campfires. We'll get our little solo stove out and sit out here. We can sit out here on that little, underneath those trees right there and watch the sunset. Basically, I have the entire rest of my life to split wood. And by the looks of this, that's about how long it's going to take. So, I'm going to sign off with this video. Just know that I will be splitting wood for the rest of my known life. And that if you want to come out to my house and help me split wood, or just split wood for me, for exercise. I mean, come on. I'm not doing this selfishly. I'm trying to help you. But if you want to come out and get some exercise and just happen to split some wood for me, you let me know. Be happy to have you come and visit.